Welcome to my review of 10 Cloverfield Lane, directed by Dan Trachtenberg, a psychological thriller centered on a fashion designer, Michelle, who awakes in an underground doomsday bunker in the care of an older man named Howard, after being knocked unconscious in a car wreck. Not knowing what the hell is going on, Michelle questions Howard as to why she and a fellow inhabitant, Emmett, are there and are unable to leave, to which Howard reveals that beyond the bunker lies nothing but the threats of a nuclear fallout, and the only safe haven in the entire world is the bunker. So this review will be 100% spoiler free, so do not worry. I want you to go in the same way I went into this film, which is not knowing a damn thing, and I gotta tell you, it paid off. And what I really adore about how this film was marketed was that 3 months ago, nobody even knew that this film existed. Come mid-January, they released a trailer without any kind of announcement, and then they also say, oh yeah, this comes out in March. Albeit that the Cloverfield title may not mean as much as it once did back in 2008, to drop the trailer out of nowhere for people who were at least anticipating a follow-up, I still think is pretty freaking cool, especially dropping a trailer that doesn't spoil every damn thing in the freaking film. I mean, apparently trailers can't go without doing that these days. It's pretty sad if you ask me. And I know that many people have already come out and stated that this is not a sequel to the original 2008 Cloverfield film, and indeed it's not. So do not go into the film expecting some kind of tie-in, because you are not going to get that. It's only a follow-up in the sense that they have the same title, Cloverfield, 10 Cloverfield Lane. It's a bit like of an anthology. Now the director on this is Dan Trachtenberg, who you may know for directing that Portal short called Portal No Escape. You can find it on YouTube. It is pretty neat. And one of the writers on this, and this is something I did not know going into the film until I saw him in the credits, and that is Damien Chazelle, who was the writer and director of my favorite film for 2014, Whiplash. One of the very many things that I praised Whiplash for was how it was able to perfectly capture that feeling of intense anxiety, and it gave me anxiety while I was watching the film, even so much so that I called it a conventional horror film. And here's the thing, 10 Cloverfield Lane is pretty much no exception. This film made me bite my nails down to the quick. Although that the thrills themselves are relatively sparse, they are immensely effective, and the film itself is pretty damn intense, to say the very least. This is truly a perfect example of how to play with tension, and knows how to make it resonate with its audience, because it's not overly oppressive to the point where you become numb to it. There are moments where tension is lifted, but once it comes back, it's like it's time to clench down. And what I also really love about this film is that it kept me guessing, something that movies of this type are hardly ever able to accomplish because they're just so damn predictable and uninspired. This one is the exact opposite, because it kept toying with me. It kept me on my toes, and it had me hooked from the very beginning all the way to the very end. Now, one thing that needs to be addressed is that this film is indeed a bottle film, and I can see that bothering some people. However, the film uses it to the best effect possible, because you really do get that sense of claustrophobia that the characters are getting. And speaking of characters, the protagonist is Michelle, played by Mary Elizabeth Winstead, and what I really love about her character is that she is smart. She's not that bumbling idiot that you typically see in horror and thrillers. Some people may complain that her character is a little too smart. I would disagree with that, only because I feel like the film presented her intelligence in a very naturalistic, organic way, without it seeming forced or her relying off of conveniences. Plus, she's a character that I found myself pulling for, and not to mention that there's a little bit of depth with her character as well. You also have John Gallagher Jr., who plays Emmett in the film, and he kind of serves as the comedic relief, although there is definitely depth with his character, no doubt. And of course, you also have John Goodman, who plays Howard. Howard is a very complex character who is performed by the always outstanding John Goodman, and John Goodman, he really surprised me with this, so get ready for an excellent John Goodman performance. But what I also want to say is that he's a character who is filled with regret, which is a major theme for this film. Not to get too deep into it because I don't want to spoil anything, but the three main characters in this film, they are either running from something or they are just plagued by regret. And I found that to be a pretty nice, interesting aspect to the film, because I feel like it kind of gives it a fun little artsy element to it. And this is supported by, of course, the characters. You have the bunker, and you also have the nice little musical choice of I Think We're Alone Now. Overall, 10 Cloverfield Lane is smart, well orchestrated, well acted, with little bits of humor here and there, and it's a film that doesn't dare drop the ball. And I must say that I am reluctant to label this as a horror film. I guess I'm willing to do that because most horror films are shit and don't really do anything for me. This one did. But as I was watching this film, I couldn't but feel as if I was watching a classic horror film. It just kind of gave me that feeling. I do recommend everybody who is watching this video to go out and support this fantastic film. Just know that it is a bottle film and it has nothing to do with the original Cloverfield. If you know that going into it, I think you're probably going to enjoy it a lot because I know I sure as hell did. And I'm going to give 10 Cloverfield Lane a nice 4.5 out of 5. If you're somebody who has seen 10 Cloverfield Lane, then do let me know your thoughts on it. And if you have, do you like it more than Cloverfield? I know I do. I can see myself returning to this film again and again. I've only seen Cloverfield probably maybe about 2 or 3 times. I do like the film quite a bit though. As always, I'm Colin Kirkland, and thank you so much for watching.